Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Ba'ishim, Rakah Kodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Ba'ishim, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to Ya'akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the Brother Raya with another video, and I'll be reading from an article on AmericanMilitaryNews.com titled, Putin Claims Russia Will Soon Be Ready to Counter Hypersonic Weapons. And hey, you had the Russians recently unveil their hypersonic weapons technology, which is nuclear capable, and now they're saying that they've got new hardware that counters these hypersonic weapons, which they've touted to be faster than any current missile, as well as able to evade any current anti-missile defense system. And this is all through the will of Yahweh Ba'ishim Yahushai, because these weapons and the Russians are going to be used by Yahweh Ba'ishim Yahushai to shoot nuclear missiles onto the United States of America, which is biblically known as Babylon the Great. And there's nothing that will happen to avert that prophecy from coming to its fulfillment. Everything's set in stone, and with each passing day, we're getting closer and closer to that inevitability. One of the last major things we're waiting for in prophecy is the mandatory implementation of the Mark of the Beast, which is the RFID/NFC microchip implant, and then shortly thereafter, there's going to be the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat in that Middle Eastern region, and of course, these nuclear missiles being shot to the ends of the earth, 200 million of which are going to hit the United States of America. Russia will be able to counter hypersonic weapons in the near future, Russian President Vladimir Putin said last month. Putin also asserted that Russia remains ahead of the US in developing new and advanced weapons. It's very likely that we will have means to combat hypersonic weapons by the time the world's leading countries have such weapons, Putin told Russia's RIA news agency, as reported by the Washington Times. Strategic range cruise or ballistic missile strikes, as we know them, can be detected between 15 minutes to an hour before impact. Hypersonic weapons, on the other hand, can fly at speeds nearing 5 times the speed of sound, decreasing the detection time to just minutes. They have a flatter trajectory than other ballistic missiles, are more maneuverable, and are much more difficult to shoot down. First strikes would be relatively unpredictable and more effective. And Russia recently just came out with a new military policy saying that they could use nuclear weapons in the event of not only a nuclear attack, but a regular conventional military attack. Specialists and military insiders have expressed concerns that the U.S. is losing in the hypersonic weapons race against its main competitors, China and Russia, the Washington Times reported, again, all through the will of Yahweh Ba'ishim Yahushai. Late last year, China showed off launchers for land attack DF-17 and anti-ship DF-100 hypersonic missiles. Concurrently, Russia claimed to be deploying nuclear-capable hypersonic Kinzhal air-launched missiles and avant-garde glide vehicles released by RS-28 intercontinental range missiles, Forbes reported. The Pentagon responded by lasering in on hypersonic development, particularly weapons capable of defending against hypersonic missiles should enemies deploy them, which when we get into some precepts, you're going to see is all futile. According to Forbes, between 2023 and 2028, the Pentagon plans to deploy hundreds of hypersonic weapons with the Air Force, Army, and Navy. And 2023 is very optimistic with the way things are looking. We're probably not going to make it anywhere near 2023 before these nuclear missiles start flying. While the Pentagon's focus is on defensive hypersonic weapons, they acknowledge the now achievable objective of being able to wipe out critical adversary strategic weapons and anti-access systems anywhere on the planet in just a few hours. Unlike China and Russia, the United States is not currently developing hypersonic weapons for use with nuclear warheads, which is probably a lie. If they know that China and Russia's hypersonic weapons are nuclear capable, you think the US is not going to develop theirs to be nuclear capable as well? As a result, U.S. hypersonic weapons will likely require greater accuracy and will be more technically challenging, a congressional report states. That's pretty much it with this article. You get the point. Now let's get into some precepts to show that not only will there be a nuclear war, but the United States will be annihilated by nuclear missiles shot from not only Russia, but China and other nations as well, including the allies of the United States of America, which are going to turn against her in that day. This is Joel chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, which is what the men of the Lord are doing right now, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, by going out there on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this to wake up the elect of the nation of Israel and warn you 2/3 and you heathens of the terrible times to come. For the day of Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand, and it's very nigh at hand. All the end times prophecies that Yahushua HaMashiach, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, talked about in Matthew chapter 24 are taking place as we speak, and only intensifying more and more with each passing day. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. Speaking of these nuclear missiles, there had not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. And where it says there had not been ever the like, it's referring to how recently these atomic and nuclear weapons came about, starting with those 2 atomic bombs during World War II. And where it says neither shall be any more after it, once these nations shoot their nuclear missiles, they're going to fire every single one of them. Not one's going to be left in a silo. And then after this nuclear destruction takes place, the elect of the nation of Israel are going to enslave you heathen nations, and you're going to be under our foot, building up the kingdom of heaven. And we're definitely not going to allow you to make nuclear weapons or any other weapons ever again. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them. Before that nuclear warhead detonates, the land looks normal. You have cities, parks, forests, people, animals, cars, etc., etc. And behind them a desolate wilderness, and behind them a flame burneth. After that nuclear warhead detonates, the land looks like a desolate wasteland, crater bombed. It looks like Mad Max or that video game, Fallout. Yeah. And nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. And the reason the prophet Joel is describing these missiles as a great people, and as horses and chariots and chariot riders, as well as these nuclear missiles are referred to as flying swords, bows and arrows, and javelins and other scriptures, is because you have to remember that when the prophets saw these visions thousands of years ago, they didn't know what a nuclear-tipped ICBM was, so they had to describe it the best way they could with what they knew during their times as ancient weapons of war. Before their face the people shall be much pained, all faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men, they shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks, because the spirit of Yahweh by Yishem Yahushai and the angels are going to be on all these nuclear missiles not to miss their targets. Wherever they're launched to, they're going to reach their destinations and detonate without a hitch. Neither shall one thrust another, they shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. And that sword is referring to these anti-missile defense systems, which are going to fail in that day. Not only is the spirit of Yahweh by Yishem Yahushai and the angels going to be on those missiles not to miss their targets once they're fired, but it's also going to be on America's anti-missile defense systems to fail in that day, so they'll be completely defenseless once these other nations shoot their missiles onto her. This is Psalms 58. I'm going to read verse 3 through 7. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And that wicked are you Edomites, or so-called white people. You're the border of wickedness in Malachi 1 verse 4. And you're the wicked whom the earth has been given into the hands of in Job 9 and 24. You're wicked straight from the womb. You Edomites are known as the biggest liars on the planet. You say that democracy and feminism are the best ways to live your life, that a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy, that it's okay to be a sodomite, and that any other ideology under the sun is better than the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'Yishim Yahushai. You Edomites got a lot to pay for, especially in the United States of America, Babylon the Great. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, charming never so wisely. Break their teeth, O power, in their mouth. Break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Yahweh. And what are a lion's teeth? Its main weapon. So this is symbolic for the weapons of you Edomites, especially in the United States of America. Again, they're going to fail in that day because the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Yishim Yahushai is going to be on them to fail. Those mighty men are going to fall on that sword or those anti-missile defense systems and not be stopped. Let them melt away as waters which run continually. When he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows, when he bendeth his bow to shoot his nuclear arrows, let them be as cut in pieces. And to you American Edomites, don't feel too bad. Just because some of your nuclear missiles are going to malfunction doesn't mean you're not going to get a lot of your nuclear missiles off onto these other nations, though you're going to do nowhere near as much damage to them as they're going to do unto you. The United States of America is going to be utterly annihilated and turned into a desolate wasteland. And again, the main nation that's going to lead these other heathen nations in shooting their nuclear missiles onto the U.S. is Russia, which is known as the North Country in the scriptures, as well as the spiritual Medes, and Gog and Magog in Ezekiel chapter 38. This is Jeremiah chapter 50. I'm going to read verse 40 to 42. As the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, and besides being known as Babylon the Great in the scriptures, the United States of America is also known as spiritual Egypt and Sodom, as pursuant to Revelation 11 verse 8. What country is pushing the hardest for this LGBTQ agenda onto the entire planet? The United States of America, through its media, through Hollywood, and the neighbor cities thereof, saith Yahweh. So shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. Behold, a people shall come from the north country, Russia, because what's north of the United States and Canada? The Arctic Ocean, and then Russia, and also Russia shooting their missiles across the Arctic Ocean onto North America is the shortest trajectory time it would take for their missiles to reach the United States, as opposed to shooting them across the Atlantic. And a great nation and many kings shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. These other nations that are going to be allied with Russia to shoot their missiles onto the U.S., which is not only going to be the allies of Russia, such as China, North Korea, Iran, but also the allies of the U.S., which are going to turn against her in that day, such as Germany, France, Britain, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, etc., etc. They shall hold the bow and the lance, those nuclear missiles. They are cruel and will not shew mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, everyone put in array, like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon, not ancient Babylon, the virgin daughter of Babylon, Babylon the Great, Mystery Babylon, the United States of America. And after these nuclear missiles hit the United States of America, it's going to be turned into a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland. Now I'm going to close it out in Isaiah chapter 13, verse 17 to 20. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, the spiritual Medes, the Russians, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. When the time comes for Yahweh Ba'Yishim Yahushai to put the spirit on these Russians and other nations to shoot their nuclear missiles, they won't have second thoughts in doing it. And if you've also noticed, over the past year, these nations like the United States have been leaving these nuclear weapons peace treaties and letting them fall apart. And it's all through the will of Yahweh Ba'Yishim Yahushai to get these nations ready to shoot nuclear missiles at each other. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And what do bows shoot? Arrows. This is symbolic for those silos and missile delivery systems that are going to be used to release those nuclear missiles. And anybody in the United States of America that isn't an elect of the nation of Israel is going to get burned up in this coming nuclear fire. And Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, the United States of America, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And how did the Most High overthrow ancient Sodom and Gomorrah? With fire and brimstone from the sky. And he's going to overthrow this modern day Sodom and Gomorrah with modern fire and brimstone from the sky. Those nuclear tipped ICBMs. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. After those 200 million nuclear missiles hit the United States of America, it's going to turn it into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards that's going to stand as a memorial as to what a wicked kingdom looks like and how not to govern the earth. And good riddance once it finally happens. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim are edified. Just keep strong and keep pushing this word. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathens, chiefly Esau, Edom. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.